it's a tough one. You know, with respect to West Virginia, there's a very strong sentiment of Second Amendment right to bear arms, and I support the Second Amendment. The school violence and the attempts to legislate gun bans, this is not an issue that I'm as focused on. You know, when I'm running as a candidate, I know that I can choose a certain number of issues to focus on and bring all my strength and energy, and I've already talked about those. Gun legislation in West Virginia is overwhelmingly supported. We've not had an episode like they've had in Florida, Sandy Hook, and all of these other places across the country, and I don't know, and God forbid that it happens, what kind of a wake-up call that would be for West Virginia. But we've got, I would hazard a guess, and this is speculation, there are probably 50 to 60 million unregistered guns in the United States. Guns are available to people who want to acquire them, and the policy and the formulation of ways to combat this violence would take more study for me to sit here and give you a concrete opinion on what I would think. But obviously, we've got very conflicting differences of opinion in the United States about gun control.
I am fully for the Second Amendment, but I fully believe that we need common sense gun measures. It's not going against the Second Amendment if you have to have a license to carry a firearm. And I think that anybody that owns one, they need to know how to use it. I mean, it's just common sense gun measures. I think it's pretty much a simplistic issue. I think that we've heard a lot of propaganda, oh, they're coming after your guns. No, we don't want guns to go after our children. Our children shouldn't have to be standing in the streets and screaming that we don't want to die anymore when we could have put in preventable measures to protect our children in our schools. And that is to make sure that people know how to use guns, that we keep the guns out of the hands as best as we can, the people that don't need them. And we have common sense federal and state laws and these measures to make sure that everybody feels safe in their communities and our children feel safe in our schools.
So this goes back to the conversation about what are our values. FDR talked about the 4 freedoms: freedom of speech, freedom of the press, freedom from fear, and freedom from poverty. We talk a lot about our freedoms of, but we don't talk as much about our freedom from. And freedom from fear is something that I think we need to be talking a lot more about. When I put my kids on the school bus the morning after the Parkland massacre, I was not feeling free from fear. We shouldn't have to live in a world where we worry when we send our kids to school that something tragic will happen with a firearm that is a weapon of war. I'm a law professor. I believe in the Constitution. I believe in the Bill of Rights. I believe in all of the amendments to the Constitution. And the Second Amendment clearly does have a right to bear arms. The Supreme Court has said so, that individuals can have guns. But every right that we have under the Constitution has some boundary. There's no limitless right under the Constitution. And if you don't believe me, try to give a toddler a handgun to take to school, preschool one day, and you'll find out that there is a limit to what